Yeah, I feel the need to make this video because there's a common trend on the internet space, especially the internet money, entrepreneurship space, that people love overcomplicating their life and then justifying why they do it. Now, I heard this quote forever ago and it really stuck with me. Overcomplicate your life and justify why you do it. And this is one of these areas where people tend to do that. And so in this video, what I want to kind of get into is kind of the philosophy behind, running a seven-figure business, multi-seven-figure business on the internet, working from home with a new baby downstairs, my wife downstairs, literally making me breakfast. And after I'm done with this, I'm going to go do that and just enjoying life. And enjoying the fruit of my labor and not putting so much strain on myself to perform every single day. Now, I think it's important for you to understand how I define high performance. And how I define high performance is very, very simple. It's the speed with which you can pull your future reality into the present, okay? That's high performance. It's the speed with which you can create things. So high performance is not, how many things you can do in a day. Okay, because sometimes you have to do less in order to get more. Sometimes in order to have a bigger business, in order to have a better relationship, or in order to have a better body, it's not more you need to do. It's little things that are ridiculously important that when left undone, feel like you have to do a lot to make up for doing them. But when you do the little things that work and you do them really, really well, then all this complex list of things kind of just crumbles. So I want to talk about my quote daily routine and my habits and everything. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video. Something like, internet millionaires, habit structure, something like that. And then kind of right hook you with how simple everything actually is, because I think it's really important that we keep the important things important. So let me start by saying that I actually don't really live by a routine so much as I have clear priorities. And those priorities are going to change season to season. And now this has had to become more fluid as I've had a kid. Once you have your first kid, good luck keeping your 5 a.m. morning routine and stuff. If you can do it, all respect to you. I don't want to sound like a nihilist or anything or like hopeless, but they're gonna wreck some stuff. And so I've had to figure out a whole new way of living. And man, I mean, it's been incredible. And I feel so grateful that my kid has taught me this. But the simple idea is that there's no such thing as a routine. There's no such thing as priorities. Now, what do I mean? Well, my routine basically looks something like this. And I put this tweet up on my Instagram. My editor will know what I'm talking about. It's and it got a lot of likes and a lot of traction. People really, really like this. I like that people like this. It was my millionaire, morning routine, and it's super, super simple. And I can put it on the screen now. So simple. And I said something like, stop overcomplicating your life. Just focus on what's important. Now, what I think is most important is again, that definition of high performance being how quickly you can pull something in the future into the present. That's the definition of high performance. Not, how many things can you do in a day without burning out? That's not a good definition of high performance. That is a good definition of high performance for people who are addicted to the struggle. That's a good definition of performance for people who validate themselves through how hard they try. And effort does not always equal yield when leverage is at play, right? So the game is leverage. But the problem is most people are playing a game of 1-to-1 ratio effort to output, whereas, we're just ignoring leverage. So anyway, I'm saying all these super, super high level thingies. Let me bring it down to earth and actually make this practical and make it worth your time to watch this video. What's my routine? Well, I wake up at about 7:30 or 8, okay, and I usually go to the gym. I didn't go to the gym this morning because I felt very inspired to make some content. So I'm actually fresh out of bed, got the bed head going, and I just threw on a shirt and I'm making content because I just feel like, okay, there's no thought. I just want to make content. I like sharing ideas with people. It's very fun to me. And I don't have to do it to even sign clients at this point. And I can make a whole video about that, but we have a whole separate system where I don't have to make any content. So I get to make content that I actually want to make, which is just wonderful, the best. So anyway, I go to the gym and then I get home and usually I'll meditate or hit the sauna, okay? And then after that, I get to work and I work usually in about 2 chunks. I work from about 9:30 to about 11 or 12, and then I'll have a quick lunch break. And then I'll work from 12 or 1 to, about 5. Okay, and then I call it quits and I'm done working at 5, no matter what. I've ended my workday at 5 for 4.5 or 5 years, and this is such a hack, and it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs sleep on. They think that the more that they work, the more progress they're making. I'm here to tell you that the better decisions you make, the more progress you're making. And Jeff Bezos actually has a quote on this. He says, all I do is I wake up and I make 1 to 3 good decisions a day, and then I go to bed.
3 good decisions a day, that's enough.
And if Jeff Bezos, literally one of the top wealthiest individuals on the planet says something about how to run a day, I'm gonna listen, you know? And he is not, you know, a biohacking, you know, red blue light blocking glasses, freaking Aura Ring addicted, like, he's not, you know? He just makes good decisions. And so what I've really taken the time to think about are my own thoughts. It's my own decision-making process and the way and the frameworks through which I naturally, the algorithms through which I naturally run decisions through. And I've gotten to a point now where I can make clean, strong, good decisions without even really having to try because I've filled my head with great sources. So I've prioritized my mental strength, my mental capacity, and my ability to reason through things over my grit and my willpower and my pure effort extended. Now, I will say that my ability to extend effort and prolong pain for seasons at a time without allowing it to get to me is higher than a lot of individuals, and it's especially higher than who I was in the past. Now, it is a skill that I've had to develop, but more importantly than that is my ability to make good decisions. For example, you know, the direction that I'm taking the business over the next 6 to 12 months. You know, I've got some really fun ideas planned, some really, really cool stuff. So anyway, I mean, that's my routine, right? I mean, and then at the end of the day, often, but not always, I will write down what I'm going to do the next day on a little note doc here on my desk. And I'll say, okay, this is kind of what I'm going to do next day so that I kind of have like a plan. That way I'm not waking up and just doing whatever. You know what I mean? I'm actually waking up and doing something that, you know, is like going to be helpful. And I mean, man, that's it, you know, and I'll meet with my team. You know, usually I'll meet with my team around 10 to 12. So I have a couple of different teams that I meet with. Here in a minute, I'll be meeting with our sales team, then our client delivery team. And then, you know, I think today I'm actually doing like an operations thing. But man, it's just so simple. And how can you make it this simple? Well, first you have to start with exactly what you want. The problem is people are walking around not even sure what they want. They have these artificial goals that they've adopted from somebody else. So, you know, the internet entrepreneur space has convinced you that you should want to make 100 grand a month, or you should want to make 10 grand a month, or whatever. Why do you want that? That's the secret. And this is something that nobody talks about. What do you want? And why do you want? What's important to you? Not what would be a cool goal to hit that would give you street cred. Not, you know, how do you keep up with the Joneses and the entrepreneurial space? What do you actually want? You know, one of my good friends said something really cool to me, and he said, you can't grow into your pain. So if getting to 10 or 20 grand a month, or 100 grand a month, or even 200 grand a month, or whatever it is that you want to do, you know, we'll do anywhere from 200 to 300 grand a month right now. That's kind of like how we tend to pace our business, right? And it's a very satisfying and easy level to be at because it's all things that I enjoy, you know, and it's all things that I get to participate in, not that I have to participate in. You know, there have been seasons where I have a calendar appointment come on my calendar and I don't even want to do it, and I literally like I'm like dropping in my office because I'm just angry at the business, or, you know, a client needs something and it's a very reasonable thing to need, but I just don't even want to do it. Like, I'm so burnt out with the business, you know, and I've really flipped that on its head. But anyway, you can't grow into your pain. And what does that mean? Well, it means if you're not aware of why you're doing something and the true benefits, not just well, if I get to 100 grand a month, then I can do this. Okay, whatever this is that something that you actually want? The big secret in the entrepreneurial space that I just don't hear anybody talking about is the people who succeed are the people who, as their business succeeds more and more, their life actually gets better, right? Not worse. Their life gets better. And that looks like building a business where, you know, you're not forcing yourself into this super constrained routine every day in order to even perform. You know, I've had days where I have 10 hours of meetings on the calendar. You know what I mean? And I've had like back-to-back sales calls or coaching calls or whatever. And man, I gotta tell you, maybe before I was married and before I had a kid, maybe it's getting married and having a kid that's talking, and I can wholeheartedly see and admit that. But I gotta tell you, that life kind of sucked. I was just cooped up in my office all day, just living through Zoom. I remember having these like weird, like, I don't know, maybe you've experienced this. It's this weird moment where you're on Zoom and you're not even hearing the person talk anymore. You're just looking, you're just so aware that you're just looking at a screen. Does that make sense? And maybe you've had this moment. I started having so many of those that I was just like, I'm so sick of this. I'm so done with this. You know, it's not that I don't care about the people. It's just that something clicked in my brain. It's like, I can't see through this screen anymore to a person, right? I'm so aware that I'm at my desk in my office, you know, with a screen in front of me, and I'm just so done with that. And it just collapsed in on itself, and I'm just like tired of it. So I started working on a different way of doing things. And I talk about that way of doing things across my channel if you're interested. how I run my businesses and everything. But anyway, so I used to have a strict routine. It was, 5:30 up, 6:30 I'm back from the gym, cold shower, freaking all these supplements and everything, which I still take, some vitamins and whatever. But I was so rigid because my business goals required it. But then once I had my business goals, like honestly, I hit my first $100,000 month. And the feeling that I had was at first elation, because I did it, and this was this number that I had in my mind forever. I literally remember texting one of my buddies, Elliot, at the time, and I was going through this program that was really making it really clear on how to get there, and I literally would text him very emotional. I'm like, dude, I might cry right now. Like, I really feel like I know how to do this. And it was everything on the line, and I think I had to go through this season, everything on the line, burning the boats, burning the candle at both ends to make this thing happen. And then I did it. But then once I did it, I realized I was like kind of stuck in this cage because I didn't want to go backwards. I didn't want to trend back and go back to an old life, but I also kind of didn't want to live like I was living. But I decided, you know what? I'm young, I'm single, I'm just going to keep living like this. And I just kept doing it. I kept making content, running ads, taking calls, just the whole 9 yards, right? And I just got to a point where I was just, and this is me being really honest and vulnerable, I was like just severely alone. I was so alone. It was just me and my computer screen. And I feel for myself. This is me like kind of maybe 3 years ago, having my first 7-figure years and everything. I really feel for myself because at the time I really thought that I had to do this in order to be respected, in order to be liked, in order to even be like loved. I had gotten this message into my head. And so, over the past 2 or 3 years, I've been really just going on a big journey. And a lot of it is because I met my now spouse, and she's just been this source of just such unconditional love in my life that it's like it doesn't even matter how the business is doing. And that was such a shock to my system because up until then it was like, well, if I'm not doing well, then I'm not a good person and I'm not worthy of love. And I know that this sounds crazy, but that honestly was the mantra. That was the dialogue. So today the energy is honestly just love and giving. I've learned to love giving, and I've also learned to love building teams. And in our company we have a couple of salespeople, a couple appointment setters, we have a couple coach, we have an operations manager, we have some people within the business that kind of keep things moving along, keep things chugging. And I like that. I like building teams. I like doing things with them. I enjoy spending time with them. And I like building cultures and communities. Inside of our client community, I'll have 30 to 50 people every Friday on a group call, and I love serving them. And it's just fun. It's just fun. And I think it stopped being something that I had to do, and it became something that I wanted to do. And it became something that I wanted to do because I aligned the benefits of it with what I want my life to actually look like. Like I sat down and got clear on what I want. And for me, the things that I want, and this is me being very honest, I want to have work that I actually care about. I want to have work that inspires me and that I would probably do for free, which helping entrepreneurs succeed, and particularly people who sell coaching or consulting programs and have their knowledge, for sale in some format, whether it's one-to-one or group or a course or anything like that. Like to me, that's the best because I love, I was homeschooled, and being homeschooled, I understand the benefit of self-education. And I think if people, because it was mostly self-education, honestly, my parents gave me a small budget to kind of just learn whatever I wanted to learn. Within a freaking year, I knew how to code Java, I knew how to code HTML, I knew how to build computers, I'd learned photography. I learned all these skills. Like people naturally have a curious, mind to them. And I think the more we decentralize education, the more we get people out there who are pushing an amazing product or service that actually fulfills on the need and really helps people get an outcome and learn lessons that stick with them for life as they get that outcome. That's powerful. We need more of that. So I love that. And then I love giving people good ideas and strategies and things that work for them. And I just have a heart for the entrepreneur that knows that they could be doing more, that doesn't have that more yet and doesn't know why. And so I want to have work that I love. I want to have a ridiculous amount of money. Like I want to make tons and tons and tons of money. I want to make so much money that, my neighbors think I'm dealing drugs. That's like, I want to make a ton of money. And the reason why I want to make a ton of money is because I want the autonomy, freedom, and creativity that comes with that real sense of financial independence and that sense of security. And if I don't have, that financial independence and sense of security, then, and I've found myself at this point where I've got like a month's worth of cash in the bank. I find myself working off of so much scarcity and so much pressure that I'm not giving from my best, and I'm not creating my best ideas. I'm not serving people the best. So the reason why I want to have that financial independence is for that. And I think that I want to have nice things like nice watches, nice cars, nice house, stuff like that, to kind of just remind me that I have the financial independence so that I can do my best work. And I know that sounds kind of self-indulgent maybe to some people, and maybe I'm talking to my old self, but that was my old self's thinking. I used to think that having nice stuff kind of was self-indulgent, but I realized now, like, especially when you do a really creative work, which is like making content, signing up coaching clients, getting them results with their business, like that's a very creative work. Once you start to, you realize you need to have an environment that creates your ideal. It's kind of like having my mom is an artist. She's an abstract artist. She makes these wonderful paintings, and she has her studio, and her studio is her perfect environment. It's colorful. It's got all these different paints around. It's this whole thing, and people think that they can just do good work no matter the environment, and that's just absolutely not true. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling now. It seems like my ideas are kind of just coming out like a big windfall of ideas, but I'm just back on the content making thing, and I'm super excited to be doing more of it. And I don't know, I just have so many ideas and so many things that I want to share, so many things that I've learned, and I just hope that this is valuable for you. I hope that this is a good piece of information for you, and that it's served you. And I think the core idea here is, my like millionaire habits or whatever are not as simple as freaking drink electrolyte water first thing in the morning and, look at my vision board and stuff. I've never really found much benefit from that stuff. I think the true, like, quote, millionaire habit, the true, like, morning routine or whatever, is every single day making sure I'm clear on where I'm going and why I want to get there, and then reverse engineering what I need to do to get there, and then just looking at the progress I've made in each of those arenas, just over and over again. And it's not that difficult once you have a clear map. And this is where, for me, this is why I've been willing to pay. I've spent $300,000 on masterminds and coaches and mentorships and stuff like that, so that I have a clear path. Now I can honestly say, at least for a season, not for a while, for a season, I have all the information I need to have in order to get to where I want to get, and that will change very quickly as I continue on my journey and I hit new bottlenecks and I need more help. And I'll rapidly make an investment at that point into the right person. But right now, I know where I need to get, I know where I want to get, and I know how I'm going to get there. So now, all it is just time. So I think the ideal morning routine, the ideal millionaire habit is know what you want, know how to get there, execute daily, and have fun while you do it, and then just wait. And that's it. That's the magic pill. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to go have breakfast with my family. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video, me rambling about routines and stuff. See you later.